we're going to learn the 3 pronunciations of the past tense suffix ed. The suffix ed is added to the end of a verb to show that an action has already taken place. It has 3 pronunciations: ed, d, t. Ed, d, t. Ed, d, t. Ed, d, t. If you only remember one rule about which pronunciation to use, remember this rule. If the root word ends in a D or a T sound, it's the sound, not the spelling, that counts. Then we need to use the ed sound with the short E clearly pronounced. This is because we cannot pronounce the D in the next syllable without the vowel sound. Let's look at an example. Here we have the word hand, and we add the suffix, so it becomes handed, ended, tended, acted, batted, nested, rented, texted, tinted, landed, lifted, fitted, listed. OR says or. Sorted, tested, hunted, padded, added, bonded, knotted, welded. The reason that I say that you need to be concerned about the last sound and not the spelling is because if the word ends in a silent E, we still use the ed ending. For example, in this word, the E makes the O have its long sound of O. So we end up with the word vote. The last sound in this word is the T. So when we add the suffix to show that it has already happened, we pronounce it with the short E. Voted. Here we have hate, hated. Note, noted. Rate, rated. Fade, faded. Side, sided. Code, coded. EE says E. Need, needed. AI says A. Raid, raided. SH says sh. Shade, shaded. Trade, traded. EE says E. Seed, seeded. If the word ends in a consonant other than a D or a T, ED may be pronounced like the letter T. T. We do this if the letter at the end of the word makes it too difficult to use the D sound. For example, if I tried to pronounce this as sipped, doing the D sound after the P sound is extremely difficult. So ED is pronounced as T. So sipped. Again, it's about the last sound, not the spelling. So this E makes the O say O, and we have the word hope. Hoped. Asked. Fake. Faked. Puffed. Staffed. SS says S. Bossed. Missed. AR says R, and CH in this word says ch. Arched. Pinched. IR says and TH in this word says th. Birthed. Wished. Again, if the last consonant at the end of a word is something other than a D or a T, you pronounce ED like the letter T if it is too difficult to pronounce it as the letter D. We do this after these sounds. P, k, f, ch, sh. The unvoiced S sound of S and the unvoiced TH sound of th. rest of the time, ED is pronounced like the letter D. We do this after all vowel sounds, and if the last sound of the word is a consonant other than D or T, where we can still easily pronounce the D sound. For example, here we have robbed. In this case, doing the sound B before D is not too difficult to say, so we use ED as D. This E is going to both make the A have its long sound and the G have its soft sound of J. So we have the word age, aged, rule, ruled, name, named, fine, fined. NG says banged, cure, cured. This E is going to make the U have its long sound, and the S is going to have its voice sound of Z. Use, used, buzzed. SH says sh, shaved. OW says ow, vowed. TH followed by an E is going to have the voiced th sound. Even though there are two letters here, it's one sound, so this E will still make the A have its long A sound. Bathe, bathed. AY says A. Played, prayed. OY says oi, toyed. Again, if the word ends in any of these sounds, ED is going to be pronounced as D. This might seem confusing, and you don't actually need to remember this long list of rules. You really need to know one rule. If the root word ends in a D or a T, use the pronunciation ed. If the word ends in another consonant that makes it hard to pronounce ED as the sound D, then you pronounce it as a T. If the word ends in a vowel sound, remember the spelling doesn't matter, it's the sound, or any of the rest of the consonants where you can easily pronounce ED as D, then use that sound. If you need more practice with this, you can download Word Mastery for free at Dr. Potter's website right here and practice pages 77 to 78. If you found this useful, please like and subscribe and share it with a friend. We're going to learn about the three sounds of WH. In most of the United States, WH has a silent H and is just pronounced like W. In some parts of the country, mostly in southern states, the H sound is actually pronounced before the W, and it sounds like wh. For example, in the part of the country I am from, we would say white, the color, white, with no H sound. In some parts of the country, it would sound more like white, where you can hear the H sound before the W. And there are some words where the W is silent, and the only sound pronounced is the H sound of h. In these words, you can use either of these pronunciations. I will use this first pronunciation, where the H is silent, because that is more common, and that is also how I grew up pronouncing these words. Here we have a silent E, which is going to make the I have its long sound. White, when. A Y at the end of a short word has a long I sound of I, Y. CH's most common sound is ch, which, whim, whip. EA's most common sound is E, wheat. IR says whirl, wine. This isn't the drink. This is a small child complaining. And whale. Here are most of the words where the W is silent and we just pronounce the H sound. Notice how many of these are question words where the WH is followed by the letter O. In this first row, we are going to pronounce the O as the long OO sound, the oo of moon. Who. Notice the W is silent. Whom. Whose. ER says whoever, whoever. In this word, we are going to have the E make the O have its long sound of O, whole. This whole refers to all of something. If you need more practice with these sounds before moving on, you could practice page 48 of Word Mastery, which you can download for free at this URL from Don Potter's website. If you found this useful, be sure to like, subscribe, and share with a friend. We're going to learn about the broad A sound. A has three main sounds. The short sound is A, the long sound is A, and the broad A sound is Ah. Let's practice all three. A, Ah. A, Ah. A, Ah. A, Ah. When a word ends in A, it may have the broad A sound of Ah. However, there aren't very many words that actually use this sound. Here are some of them. Bra, spa, ska. Ska is a type of music. And the exclamation ha. Most of the time, when a word ends in the letter A, it schwas. A schwa is a muffled sound that sounds like a short U at the end of a word. So in all of these words, rather than having a clear ah sound, it's going to sound more like Gala, gala, comma, ninja, panda, ultra, magma, tundra. It's very common for names to end in the letter A and have the schwa sound, like Anna, Donna, Santa, Honda, and Tesla. Here are some more words that end in A that use the schwa sound. AR says R, larva. ER says opera. AU says ah, sauna. PH says f, alpha. OR says or, norma. Here are some words where the first A has the broad A sound and the A at the end schwas. Papa, mama, pasta, salsa, drama. Notice in all of these, the first sound is the clear ah sound, and the one at the end is the sound. In all of these words, the underlined vowel has its long sound, and the A at the end will schwa. Tuna, scuba, zebra, soda, sofa, idea, puma. The broad A sound of ah can also be spelled with the letters AH. However, this is not very common. Ah, blah, aha. This I is going to have its long I sound. Messiah. Here are some important slang words that use the schwad A at the end. This A is going to have the broad A sound. So we have a broad A of ah and a schwad A sound of wanna. Wanna is short for want to. This O is going to schwa as well. So this word is going to be gonna, which means going to. This T will be silent because TCH together says ch, gotcha. Gotcha means got you, like I got you this book, meaning I got you this book or I bought you this book. It also means I understand. If you have an A after a W, as long as there is no R after the A will usually, but not always, have the broad sound. In all of these words, it will have the broad sound of ah. ER says so we have water, want. This L will be silent. Walk. SH says sh, wash, watch, wasp, swan, wand, swap, walt. rule also applies if you have the letters Q, U, A, because it's about the sound of W, not the spelling. Since Q, U says qu, in which case you hear the W sound, the A following it will be broad. So here we have squat and squad. Here are some of the exceptions where the A has the short sound after a W instead of the broad A sound. Wag, wax, swam, quack. If you have W-A-R, this sound is going to be war. So here is the word war. Warp, warn, ward, warm, dwarf, wart. This E is going to be long. Reward. ER says warmer. Y at the end of a long word usually has the long E sound. Warmly. We're going to learn about several other ways to spell the long O sound. OOR is the same as OR. They both say or, like in the word door, back door, indoor. OU says ow, outdoor. Pour. Here we're going to add the suffix poorer. Here's the suffix ly, poorly, and the suffix est, poorest. Floor, the suffix ing, flooring. The long O sound can also be spelled with OA, like in the word oat, oats, or, oak, coal, boat, coat, foam, load, goat. WH says W in most states. Woe, soap, roam, soar, hoax. OE also says O, like in the word toe. Doe. A doe is a female deer. The name Joe. Hoe. A hoe spelled this way is a gardening tool. Aloe, like the plant. And goes. Notice in this word the S has its second sound of Z. And the word foe, which means an enemy. There are 3 important exceptions where the OE does not have the long O sound, like in the words shoe, does, and canoe. OLD also has the long O sound. Old, bold, gold, cold, fold, hold, mold, sold, told. It keeps this sound even if we add a suffix at the end, such as these suffixes in green. Golden, goldfish. Actually, this isn't a suffix. This is a compound word. 2 nouns put together. SH says sh. So goldfish. Folded. If we have a root word, meaning the end of a word before any suffixes are added, and it ends with OL plus another consonant, it will usually have the long O sound, like in colt, bolt, jolt, volt. Here we've added the prefix re to the word volt, revolt. Here we've added the suffix n to molt, to make it molten. And here we've added the suffix ed to bolt, to make the word bolted. Here are some more words that end with OL plus a consonant. Again, this is just for the root word before any suffixes. Roll. Here we've added the suffix ED to make it past tense. Rolled. Here we've added the prefix N, enroll. the suffix roller, scroll, scrolled, troll. Here we're adding ing, trolling. If the root word ends in OLK, the O will also be long, but also the L will be silent, like in the word yolk, as in a part of an egg. Folk. Here we have polka. A at the end of a word usually schwas to make a muffled sound. That sounds like a short U. Here we have another word that is two words put together. So we have folklore. If we have OLL and the next letter in the word is a vowel, and the vowel is not part of a suffix, then we're going to have a short O sound instead of a long O. So in all of these words, after the double L, we have a vowel that is not part of a suffix. So the O will keep the short O sound. Folly. We remember that Y at the end of longer words usually has the long E sound. The name Polly, jolly, holly. OW says O in this word. Follow, hollow. AR says R, dollar. Most of the time, our mouth gets a little lazy, and instead of saying the R sound clearly, it becomes muffled and sounds more like dollar. This G is followed by an E and is going to have its soft sound of J, college. If you're trying to decide whether to use the long O or the short O sound for a root word ending in OLL, look at the letters coming after it. If it's OLL plus a suffix, you're going to use the long O sound. If it's OLL plus a vowel that is not part of a suffix, keep the short O. For example, here we have the suffix ing. It starts with a vowel, but it's a suffix, so we are going to follow this rule with the long O. Rolling. Here we have OLL. We do not have a suffix. We have a vowel, but it's not part of a suffix, so we keep the short O sound. And we have the last name Collins. Here's OLL. The next letter is a vowel, but it is not part of a suffix, so we keep the short sound, Holland. Here we have OLL, and the next letter is a vowel, but it is part of a suffix, the suffix ing, so we use the rule to keep the long sound, polling. This is a suffix, so we have the long O sound, roller. Here we have OLL, but the next letter is a U, that is not part of a suffix. So here we have a short O sound, and this U is underlined because it's going to have its long E sound, a long U sound from the silent E. Pollute. Here we have OLL. The next letter is not part of a suffix, so we're going to have the short O sound. Collapse. Here we have the word follow, because OW says O in this word, and then we've added the suffix but the suffix here does not come right after the OLL, so it does not change the pronunciation of this O. So this word is follower. Here are two common exceptions where the word keeps the short O sound instead of the long O sound. Golf and doll. Here are some words that are commonly called sight words that have the long O sound. In this word, TH uses its soft sound of th, so we have both. This Y is going to have a long E sound, so we have only. Here's the contraction don't, which is short for do not. OR says or, so this is the word more. This E is going to have its long sound. Again, we have OR saying or, so we have before. ER says so this word is over. And open. There are 3 more sight words that you need to know that have the letter O that use a different sound. These 3 words use the long OO sound, which is the oo sound of the word moon. These words are to, do, and this word has a silent W. So this word is also to. This one refers to the number. This one you would use in a sentence like, I am giving the book to you. Again, this is when you're saying you're doing it to someone, and this is the spelling for the number. If you need more practice with these long O sounds, you can practice pages 61 and 62 in Word Mastery, which you can download for free at this website. If you found this useful, be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. We're going to learn about 4 suffixes where the TI says sh. These suffixes all have a TI that says sh. So this will be pronounced shun, shull, shun, and shus. By far the most common of these is the suffix shun, spelled TION, and this one is the most important one for beginner readers to know. Action, option, caption, faction, section, suction, fraction, fiction. AU says ah, caution. OR says or, portion. In all of these words, the underlined vowels are going to use their long sound. Lotion, potion, nation, notion, emotion, motion, station. This suffix sounds like shull. AR says R, martial. This will have its long sound. Spatial, partial. Here we add the suffix ly, partially, partially. This suffix also says shun. AR says R, Martian. A Martian is somebody from the planet Mars. The letter Y in this word is going to have the short I sound of I, Egyptian. This A will have its long sound, Dalmatian. One important exception to this is the word Christian, where the TI says ch instead of sh. Our final suffix is shus. This one is not as important for beginner readers to know because it's mostly used in longer words. But here are some of the words younger readers might understand. Infectious. Something that is infectious could cause you to get a disease. AU says ah, cautious. This U will use its long sound. Nutritious. If you need more practice with these sounds, you can practice page 108 from Word Mastery, which you can get for free at this website. You can also watch my video about the Latin suffixes your schools didn't teach you. We're going to learn the sounds of IGH, IND, and these 2 suffixes. IGH has the same sound as a long I. Most of the time in English words, G and H together are silent. So IGH here is going to say I. So this word will be high. Fight, might, sigh, sight. This TH will use its first sound of thigh, nigh, night, fright. We can add suffixes like these 3 in green without it changing the sound. Frighten. ING says ing. Lighting. Fighting. At the end of a root word meaning before you add any suffixes, most of the time IND will have a long I sound and sound like eind. So this part is eind. So this word is bind. Find. Kind. Hind. Mind. This word can be pronounced 2 different ways. The verb is wind, like winding up a toy. The noun is wind. Blind. grind. We can even add a prefix. Remind, rewind, unwind. The root is going to have the ein sound even though we've added a suffix. So this suffix ly will not change the sound of the I. Kindly. Here we're going to add the suffix ed, and then ing. Finder, binder, grinder, blinded, minded, winding. Let's say you looked at this and you weren't sure if it was going to be wind or wind. Have you ever heard of winding? That doesn't make sense. Wind is a noun, not a verb. If we add a suffix like ing, we need the verb, so it's winding. We can even use a compound word with two words put together. Mindset, grinding. ILD generally says ild with a long I sound at the end of a root word. Wild, mild. CH says ch in this word. Child. We can add suffixes like these three without it changing the I. So the I will still have the long I sound. Milder, wilder, mildly. One important exception where the I does not have a long I sound is the word children. Notice when you have one child, it has a long I sound. But as soon as you make it plural, the I becomes a short I sound, and we have children. Now, when you have a word that ends in Y and you're trying to make it plural, the rule is change Y to an I and add ES. This also occurs when you're changing the form of the verb. You change the Y to an I and add ES, or change the Y to an I and add ED if it's past tense. So if your word is a short word that ends in Y, all these words are short words ending in Y, and the Y has a long I sound, then when you change the ending, the IE is also going to have the long I sound. For example, here we have the word cry. We change the spelling, the Y becomes an IE, but the sound is the same. So cry, cries, cried. Try, tries, tried. Fry, fries, fried. Sky, skies. Spy, spies. Sky, skies. Dry, dries, dried. Fly, flies. Ally, allies, allied. Here this E has the long E sound. Rely, relies, relied. So if the word ends in a Y, when you change the Y to an IE and add S or a D to change the tense of the verb or to make it a plural noun, the IE has the same sound as the word did when it had a Y. So if it's a long I, the IE has the long I. In all of these words that end in Y, the Y has a long E sound at the end. So this word is city. C followed by an I has the soft sound S, so city. So when we make it plural, the IE is going to keep the same sound that this Y had, which was a long E sound. City, cities. Copy, copies, copied. These three words all have long vowel sounds. Duty, duties. Baby, babies, babied. Pony, ponies. So again, when the word ends in a Y and you change the spelling of the Y to an IE before adding an S or a D, the IE has the same sound as the Y in the original word did. If you have a short word ending in IE, it's going to have the long I sound. lie, pie, die, vi, tie. If you have a longer word ending in IE, it's going to have a long E sound. OW says ow in this word. Brownie. This is going to be a long U. Cutie. Here we have a name. AR says R. CH says ch in this word. Charlie. Connie. This OO is going to have its sound. Cookie. This E will be long and will make the G have its soft sound of J. Genie. So if you have a short word ending in IE, try the long I sound. If you have a longer word, try the long E sound. If you need more practice with these sounds, you can download Word Mastery for free at Don Potter's website at this URL and practice these pages. If you found this video useful, be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment. We're going to learn about AL at the end of words. So far, we've learned 3 sounds for A: the short sound of A, the long sound of A, and the broad A sound of Ah. In these words that end in AL, A is going to have its short sound: pal, gal, the name Sal, Al, Hal, the word canal, and in this video, any underlined vowel is going to have its long sound: decal. Most of the time, words ending in AL have a muffled sound, where it won't sound like a clear owl, but will have a muffled schwa sound of ul, like in metal, metal, animal, mammal, signal, dental. OY says oi, loyal, royal. OR says or, portal, floral, normal, moral. You could see that in all these words, rather than a clear owl sound, we have a muffled ul sound. Here are some more words with the muffled sound. ER and UR both say verbal, plural, formal. In all these words with the underlined vowel, the vowel is going to have its long sound: oval, vile, vital, dial, opal, rival, fatal, vocal, global, total, local. ER says funeral. These lists of words are much longer than the ones on the first slide because AL uses this muffled sound way more often than the clear, short owl sound at the end of a word. Now, what if you have another vowel before the A? Well, if there's a vowel team, then it does not have to use the muffled sound. For example, here we have EA together, which say E in this word, in the word team. Here we have EA, and they also have the long E sound, which is the most common sound of EA. And we have real, deal, heal, seal, meal. OA says O, coal, and again, coal. In all of these words, there are 2 vowels together, so the AL does not have a muffled ul sound. Now, the AL at the end of a word having a muffled sound refers to the end of a root word. You can add suffixes and it keeps the muffled sound. For example, in these words, we're adding the suffix ly. So we have legally, locally, finally, totally. QU says qu, equally. EA says E in this word, ideally. The rest of this lesson is optional because it might be confusing for younger students. Besides ly, you can add other suffixes to the end of a root word that ends in AL. For example, this suffix is ism. Sometimes S says Z, and this is an example. So right here we have our root of vandal, and then we can just add ism. So even though the AL doesn't come at the end of the word, it comes at the end of the root before we've added the prefix. So it keeps the muffled sound. Vandalism, capitalism. Here's the suffix shun, which we have covered in a previous video. It is one of the most important suffixes. In these words with underlined vowels, we are going to have the long sound. The non-underlined vowels will have their short sound. So nationalism, nationalism, fictional, fictional, emotional, emotional. You can see that learning to recognize one or more suffixes added to the end of a root word makes it very easy to read long words, because most longer words will have several suffixes or prefixes in them. Here are some more. Remember that ER says G in this word has this soft J sound because of the E. Generational, generational, functional, functional. IR says directional, directional, fractional, fractional, conversational, conversational, educational, educational, optional, optional. Again, most of the time when you see a long word in English, as long as it's not a scientific term, you will see that there are several suffixes added to the end of a root word, or perhaps even suffixes at the end plus prefixes at the beginning. If you can learn to recognize these, then reading long words becomes much easier. Now, if we have another vowel before the A and the L at the end of a root, then we have a vowel team. And so the AL will not have a muffled sound. For example, this root right here is real, with the EA saying E. So we have the root real, and we add our suffix ism, realism, idealism. If you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. We're going to learn about the third sound of U. Now, the previous sounds of U we have covered are the short U, which says The two long U sounds, U, oo. Remember, we use the U sound when we can say it easily, but if it is hard to pronounce after another letter, then we switch to oo. U, oo, U, oo. The third sound is So let's practice all four of those sounds. U, oo, U, oo, U, oo, This third sound of U is also called the short O sound. Here are some words that use the sound. Put. SH says sh. Push. Pull. You can even add suffixes. Pudding, pushing, full, bullet, bush, bull, bully. Remember that a Y at the end of a longer word usually has a long E sound. One of the most common places that this third sound of U is used is the suffix full. Cheerful, careful. EA says E in this word. Fearful, hopeful, helpful. IGH has the long I sound, and the GH is silent, as covered in a previous video. Insightful. AR says R. Harmful, hateful, grateful. IND usually has a long I sound. Mindful, useful. You can see that learning to recognize suffixes at the end of words makes reading longer words much easier. Besides the suffix full, you can sometimes add the suffix ly to get fully, carefully, helpfully, cheerfully, willfully. AI says A, painfully. TH in this word has its first sound of th, thankfully. Here are some words that use the short U sound, even though they look like they would rhyme with pull and full. Dull, skull, hull, dully, so we can add a suffix, skulls. Again, most of the time the words with ULL will have the third sound of but these are some of the words where it has the short sound of If you found this useful, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. We're going to cover the sounds of EW, TCH, and DGE. EW has the sound oo, 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 do, new, pew. Notice in this word, we use the U sound rather than the oo. So just like the long U has two sounds, U and oo, and we use the U sound when it's easy to say and the oo sound when it is hard to say, it's the same with the EW sound here. So in most of these words, it's too hard to say U, so we say oo. But pew is one where we can have the Y sound in it. Crew, brew. CH says ch in this word. Chew, stew, strewn. TH in this word says through. Screw. We can add suffixes and prefixes to words with EW without it changing the sound. Newly. ER says fewer. We can add a prefix, renew. Here's a name, Lewis. Here's the suffix ED, which has three sounds, ed, d, and t. In this word, it will use the d sound. Brood. PH says nephew. This word has two suffixes, sewers, newest. Here are some words that have EW where it does not say oo. Here we have a prefix re, so that would not change the sound. So here we have rewind. This is the word so, and this is sown. But generally, EW will have the sound of oo or sometimes u. TCH is how the sound of ch is spelled after a short vowel sound. So here we have ch. In all these words, we have a short vowel sound. So catch. Notice the T is silent. I like to think of the T as a shield protecting the CH, which is scared of short vowels. Catch. Here we have an E. We want a short vowel sound. CH is scared of it, so it uses the letter T like a shield. The T doesn't make a sound itself, it just protects the CH from the short vowel sound. Sketch, clutch, twitch, batch, itch, patch, match. We can add suffixes, itchy, catching, picture. Just like on the previous slide where the CH was scared of the short vowel sound, I like to think that the GE is scared of a short vowel sound and uses the letter D as a shield. In addition, we need the letter D to keep the short vowel sound. For example, if I have this word here, this E only has one letter between it and a vowel. That means this E most of the time will be a silent E and make the vowel change to its long sound. So this word would be doge. We don't end English words in the letter J. So if the last sound of a word is J, we use GE instead of a J. But if we want to have a short vowel sound, we need to add a letter D. So adding the D means we have two letters between the E and the O, which means the silent E does not change the O. It only changes the G to a J. Dodge, bridge, badge, edge, judge. Notice all these words have short vowel sounds because the D acts as a shield to protect the GE from the short vowel sound. Ledge, ridge, fridge, nudge, fudge. Fudge is a type of chocolate dessert. Lodge. Now, if we want to add a suffix and the suffix starts with the letter E, then we are going to drop one of the E's. For example, here we have judge. We want to add ED to make it past tense. Notice our new word has one E. We don't have an E here and an E here. We drop one of them. So judged. Badge plus becomes badger with one E. Edge plus ED becomes edged. Just one E. Pledge plus ED becomes pledged. So in all these words, when the root ends with the letter E and our suffix starts with an E, we add the suffix, but we drop one of the E's. If you found this useful, please leave a comment and let me know. We're going to learn about the sounds of ARR and ERR together. Now, AR by itself at the end of a word or before a single consonant has the sound of R, like in car and card. However, if you have A with two R's, it usually has the long A sound, air, like in marry or married. Notice that when we switch from marry to married, the Y becomes an I before we add the ED to show its past tense. Here we have the name Harry. Carry. We change the Y to an I and add ED to turn carry into carried. Another name, Larry. Arrogant. Here is one of the few words that starts with ARR where we keep the air sound, arrogant. In the rest of these words, the A is going to schwa and say so we have arrest, arrive. Notice in both of these words, the A says and the rest of it we read as it is written. Arrival. AL at the end of a word usually says which I covered in a previous lesson. Arrived. ER at the end of a word or before a consonant says like in her and heard. Now, if you have ERR, then it says like error, ferret. We can even add suffixes, ferry, ferries. Notice when we go from the singular ferry, which is a type of boat, and make it plural, the Y becomes an I, and we add ES, ferries. Terror. OR says or. Territory. SH says sherry. Mary. Berry. When we go from one berry to two berries, we change the Y to an I before we add the ES. Berries. CH says ch most of the time. Cherry. Cherries. Another name, Derek. Terrific. Another name, Carrie. If you found this useful, please leave a comment and let me know.